Now that you've set up your data gateway, you can start to use that data within PowerApps. You can see here I've opened up the PowerApps application and I've just selected New. And this gives you the options to start working with other existing data such as Salesforce and SharePoint, and you can view some others there. There are also some pre-designed templates that give you some great examples of how to work with PowerApps in different ways. So you can see as a budget tracker, as a contest registration, very big visual ones, or the more practical service desk items on there as well. I'm going to go back and not use those at the moment and just select a blank app. So we're going to select the tablet layout. You can see what this gives you is a blank screen and gives you the option to insert items from the tab there or connect to data. So let's set up that connection to the data that we've defined. If we click on Add Data Source, what it will do is give you some of the connections that you've already set up to your data, such as here I've connected to our Visual Studio Team services and Planner and others, but we're going to create a new connection now. So we're going to scroll down and pick up SQL Server. You can see just there at the bottom and select on that. Once you do that, it gives you two options. You can either connect directly if it is accessible via the web, or if it's on an Azure SQL instance, or in this case we're going to use the data gateway. So if you select the data gateway, you then need to put in the database name, the data server name, and then the database name, if you can spell, the automobile sample. Define your authentication on there, and we would recommend that you set up a dedicated username for this. In this case I'm just using the admin account on the server. Certainly not recommended as best practice, and the password you got for there. And then finally pick the gateway that you've just set up. You'll notice if you don't have a gateway, it does give you the link to install the gateway from there. And then we'll create that. And you can see that it will bring back a list of the data sets, and usually it will be the default one, and then you can pick the table from there that you want to use. Now it's worth noting that you do need to make sure you set up a primary key for that table, otherwise it won't work with PowerApps. So if we now connect up to there, and you can see you've got your data source. We could connect this table to there. I tend to find that the best screen to start with is a list screen, and you'll see if you create a new one of those, it adds a nice big header, adds some images and some sample data there. And if you select on the screen and select that list, you'll see that it's connected up to some sample data that gets created when you add that new screen. But if you change that drop down, you can now select the app data table that's been created. And it's starting to pull back the ID and the first record there. Because we don't have an image defined on there, it will just carry on using the sample image, and you'll see down the right that you've got the data you can connect to. You can change to different formats, so you could just have image and title, you could have just text, depending on what you want to show there. For example, here you could pick 3 fields instead, and if we select some more relevant data, by clicking on the drop down, it will look at what's in the database and bring you back those fields. So for example, we'd probably want make, such as Toyota and Subaru. We could bring back in the subtitle the price, and just scroll down to the drop down, and then maybe in the body, in fact you see it's gone with body style, so we'll stick with that. And then you can see you can very quickly bring back some data. I'm going to jump over to the sample app that we've created, where we've done a few more bits and pieces to it already. So I'm just going to jump in and show you the edit screen for that. I don't need to save the changes we've made on the new application. Now it's interesting to note here, because prior to this I deleted the SQL Server connection so I could take you through step by step setting up a new one. Because I was using that within this application, it's warning me that that doesn't exist, but it's also noted that this very similar one to what is going on there does exist, and it's recommended that it's switched over to that. So where I had the connection to that database before, I deleted that connection, created a new one which is virtually identical, and it's already recognized to pick that up. So here you can see pulling back the same data, except in this case I've added a new header, put a bit of an image behind that to make it feel a bit glossier. Where I had the images, just the default images before, if I go to View and Media, I've uploaded a few new images for the different types of cars that can be used on there. And if I then select this actual field here, you can see on the drop down it's the image 1. If you have a look at here, what it's doing is saying switch. So select based on the make field. So this item, which is that selected row here, look at the make, which in this case is Toyota. And if it's Toyota, use the Toyota image. If it's Honda, use the Honda image. Now I haven't taken this for all the different ones, so I've then added a final one of default, which is just car. So you can see here where Subaru is selected, it's just showing the car image there. I've also done a few more bits to make the data look a bit nicer. You can see here that with Toyota, I've used the proper function to give it a capital letter, make it appear a bit nicer than just the lowercase. For the price, I've just added some formatting to make it appear like a price, and I've added an image behind here as well. You can see here I've added some formatting to make sure it's removed the decimal points, and also added the miles per gallon text onto there as well. Finally, I've added some logic. So if you click on this screen, you can navigate to the details screen, and this passes this current item. So this current Toyota item, when I click on details, you'll see a very basic form. I haven't done too much formatting on here. And if I select this record and jump over to advanced, you will see, sorry, let me just select the whole form. You'll see again, it's still using that same data source, but the actual item is based on the selected item that has been passed to this screen. And if I go back to home and just run the app quickly, you can see you can press play here at any time, and you can go straight into looking at that data. And if I pick, for example, the Subaru there, and I click on the arrow to view the details, you can see that it's returning the details that I've picked there for it. I haven't picked all of them, and it's returning that data. If I then change and instead go and have a look at the edit that data, and I have selected a few more columns on this, a few more fields, you can see you can scroll through and look at the different fields. Now what's great with this data, you can select and you can change the price. So if I change this to 88888 and then select on the tick, the dots that appear along the top there show that it's saving that back, and that's pushing that actually into the database. You can see if I go back to detail screen, straight away that's updated to 88888. And even if I go to the database, just change my query slightly. So this is looking at app data where the price is 88888, and you can see it's pulled up that Subaru. So it's written that data very easily straight back into the database. So what you have here is an application around your database. You could set up stored procedures and be a little bit more complex if you do need to, but you can very quickly and easily get a pretty interface that's available not just on desktop, but also on your tablet and mobile devices as well.